This is Williams Energy News Live.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to this hour's edition of Energy News Live. I'm Stephanie Stanton. Topping news this hour, the Bush administration facing new questions today about its ties to the energy industry. Major shakeup at Enron. The company has ousted its chief financial officer. The move comes as federal securities regulators review business dealings between Enron and two investment partnerships that were run by CFO Andrew Fastow. The big story today continues to be the oil complex. This is what we're primarily going to focus on today when we take a look at the energy markets, although we are seeing weakness across the board. Crude hit a 4.5-month high after several bullish factors once again took over the market. A couple of things came out today, news items. The first from OPEC's top official saying that the group will keep output steady for the rest of 2002. And speaking of those prices, let's go ahead and get a look at those prices. Lindsay Patterson is standing by live on the trading floor, starting in crude. Hi, Lindsay. Thanks a lot. Sometimes you just can't figure out why the market does what it does. And speaking of weather now, let's move on to that because we're going to check in on the forecast. Sometimes the market does what it does because of the weather. Steve Strum's here to talk about that. Hi, Steve. We also have some inventory numbers to talk about today. We have the EIA inventory numbers. Let's take a look at the APIs, though, that came out on Tuesday afternoon. We had a build in crude of 1.1 million. Now, I just got the EIA numbers in hand, so I don't have them on graphic, but I can tell you that crude had a draw of 200,000, so there is some disparity there. Unleaded had a draw of 1.6 million, a much larger draw in unleaded reflected on the EIAs. And then distillates had a build of 2.5, pretty much falling in line. I can also tell you that refinery utilization is down. We want to head out to Chicago now, to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and Phil Flynn, senior market analyst with Aileron Trading, joining us live this afternoon. Hi, Phil, good to see you.
Hey, Stephanie, it's great to be here again. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Let's talk about the API and the DOE numbers. Any surprises there? What'd you think?
Wow, I'll tell you one thing. I better check the mileage on my car. It looks like we're going to see a pretty good spike, and it's already started.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Chicago and the Midwest was one of the areas last year that was getting hit the hardest. But let's shift gears a little bit, though, because, you know, Russia planning now to go along with OPEC. There had been that uncertainty about whether or not they were going to go second quarter. They are now. Good news?
I think it's real good news for OPEC, obviously. I don't know if it's so good for the American consumer.
Phil Flynn joining us live from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, senior market analyst with Aileron Trading. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Stephanie. It's great to be here.
All right, and I expect you to be on the phones to Russia then.
I'm going to get him on the phone, you know. Hey, Vladimir, let me talk to you. All right.
Thanks, Phil.
Bye-bye.
All right, we have some breaking news to tell you about this hour. Accounting firm Anderson pleads not guilty to federal obstruction of justice charges. Let's talk about OPEC's power because, of course, there is that belief as well that OPEC is powerless or OPEC is continuing to lose power. We have other players coming in like Russia and Norway. Do you think OPEC is powerless?
Well, right now, with demand down considerably, what OPEC is really trying to do is push on a string.
Well, as OPEC members and non-OPEC oil producers cut production to try and stabilize prices, the United States is keeping a low profile on the issue of oil. Well, will that change in 2002? Joining us now to talk more about that is former Assistant Secretary of Energy, Robert G. Mr. G served in the Clinton administration. He is now a vice president of an energy company based in Washington. Robert G., thank you so much for being with us, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too, Stephanie. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about, first of all, your sense of the Bush administration's relationship with OPEC right now. Is quiet diplomacy really the right approach, do you think?
I think it is.
Now, do you think OPEC's production cut will be successful in stabilizing prices? Because really prices are not reacting too much to the upside, at least not right now.
It will be successful to the extent that they can impose.
Mr. G, this is our last question. We are running out of time, but switching gears a little bit. Before you went to Washington, you served on the Texas Public Utilities Commission.
Yes.
And of course, we have deregulation starting as of yesterday. What is your take on the start of retail competition in Texas?
Well, personally, I am taking an approach of watchful optimism.
Absolutely, a wait-and-see attitude. Robert G., thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Want to turn to our next guest this hour. Joining us from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is Phil Flynn, Vice President and Senior Market Analyst for Aileron Trading and a regular here on E&L. Phil, good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good morning. It's great to be here.
First of all, we want to start out with a check of the S&P. What's going on?
Well, they're down. They're struggling right now.
Let's talk a little bit about OPEC. Day 2 of the OPEC cutbacks and the impact on the market. Really, we're not seeing too much action. Of course, a lot of it has been factored in, right?
It really has been, but we did actually see a lot of action.
We need to get the Phil Flynn outlook of 2002. Looking ahead to the year in energy, of course, the bulls and the bears. What are some of the bullish and bearish factors, starting, of course, with the economic recovery? Seems that, of course, would be bullish for energy, right?
Well, it sure is.
Okay, well, we like that.
Yeah, I like that, too, and I think we deserve it after the rough year that we've had, but I think things are looking better.
Yeah, so things are good, but, you know, hold on to your hats.
Hold on to your hats and buckle up. It's going to be a long ride.
All right, Phil Flynn, thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year to you. We appreciate the insight.